sacred teacher's life. He just doesn't defy the gravity of something. Life, each one you got a ubiquity. Life, he doesn't need a name to distinguish him. Oh, she flies through the clouds, darkness, rather down the breathless vastness of the world. And yet, they need all within the heart of herself. Give it to one more day.
Obliterate form and spirit.
It's no exception, it's just less. I guess you can't trust a gentle tiger. Life, expected, it's running each other, ubiquity. Radiant, existence, it doesn't need a name tomorrow. Only a pleasure, but it's something. I love my choices. I could have quit. I am just too cold and metal. I don't need faith. I wanna just be a free girl with a bonus and a pulse. Free girl, the silent preacher. Watch out, keep your hands up. Don't make a big deal out of me. Free girl, don't be curious about me. I don't want you to get hurt. Watch out, keep your hands up. Don't make a big deal out of me. That's just for me. Nobody's who live on my feet. I don't need faith. Keep it real. Keep it real. I get a good vibe. You know zombies don't live in hurt just like that. I don't need you, sympathy. Freak out with the bonus and boss. Freak out, the silent preacher. Watch out, keep your hands up. Don't make a big deal out of me. Freak out, don't be curious about me. I don't want you to get hurt. Watch out, keep your hands up. Don't make a big deal out of me.
Piping hot, popping like popcorn. It's all mine. Can you hear the bells ding dong? This is it. This is it. If I could just see your heart, how small the world. It's not that I don't want to
Good morning everyone, it's ZZZ Season 22, so let's talk about it. We're just going to be brief here, talking about the rotation target and some interesting part. As always, more detailed information and build reasoning is available in the description. First is 114 million HP Priest. This is the highest her HP has ever been. But it does come with a notable upgrade on Yixuan. That is Lucia new release and a shameless strong shield buff. Pinnacle overall gives 40% sheer damage and 45% stun multiplier, with condition that you need either fail for the full effect. So for now, only Lucia or eat Hari. Needless to say, M0 kill will need Lucia this season, and maybe future season too. Important to note, sheer damage is different from damage percent. There are two different multiplication factors on the damage calculation. Normally, sheer damage is a scarce and limited DPS factor that can only comes from Yixuan signature or her draft disc. So getting a free 40% of it buffs her damage by a lot, and 45% stun multiplier is an obvious shield buff effect. This is the highest stun mult increase until now from a buff. This kind of buff is normally only accessible by stun or mindscape like M1 Jufufu, M1 Trigger or M2 Qingyi. I am not saying that Lucia is overrated, she is still strong as expected, just like any other assigned support. But you should take into consideration the insane buff that comes with her currently to assess her value. To fully utilize the shield buff value, the best thing to do is a stunner rotation like this. Lucia doesn't chase the best rotation. For stun window, with 2 Yixuan ultimate on each of them. 1 extra disable ultimate if you are using Jufufu. Qingyi, Trigger, and Fufu, all the capable 1-cost stunner for Yixuan this season that doesn't require signature double engine for a kill. There will be some video references in the description for my recommended M0 baseline kill this season because I am not going to showcase them. What I want to try here is using a double support, Astra and Lucia, which does give some drawbacks. Because of Astra non-existence dazing capability, the only possible rotation would be a 2-stun rotation. If we are using other support like Pan or Nicole instead of Astra, 3-stun is possible for them. Since both Pan and Nicole still has a dazing presence with their EX special and defensive assist, and they can be built on impact and 2-piece king of the summit, which is also another good team variation of the double support team. We will still do a 4 pair of Yixuan ultimate, just like as if we have 4 stun window, with an extra one at the end for the finisher, and it turns out 2 stun window is all they need for a kill. It is important to note that this is partly thanks to Game Ball and Lucia signature, both strong buffing for Yixuan too. I didn't find success in limit testing reducing the cost by substituting these two W engines. Now let's vlog the rotation. We will do Yixuan first ultimate pair at around 2:30 when Priest first phase switch, making sure that we still get the extra crit damage buff from it. So managing Yixuan adrenaline and disables to be ready for ultimate within the first 30 seconds is important. Using Yixuan EX Wing Parry for effective adrenaline usage is the key for this part of the rotation. Next, we have to make sure Yixuan can get her disables back up again for the next ultimate instead of for stun. Here, we utilize the scripted defensive assist chain from the Priest to build Yixuan disables. This should always happen at around 2-minute mark if the Priest is not stunned until then. After the scripted defensive assist, strike while it's still hot. Here, Priest should be impaired, giving an extra 30% stun multiplier, netting a 225% stun multiplier total. If we do it quick, this will stay fully during Yixuan Adrenaline Ultimate. The stun rotation will be Yixuan Adrenaline Ultimate with Chain Trigger into Lucia Chain, into Astra Ultimate for Yixuan Double Chain Attack, then Yixuan Disable Ultimate into Yixuan fully exhaust her Adrenaline for Ball EX. If done properly, all of this will be just enough within the whole stun window duration. And repeating the rotation, the third ultimate timing would be after the Miasmic phase, where Priest will be also scripted to be impaired here. So use Yixuan Adrenaline Ultimate while it's still hot. But the Disables Ultimate we will use after the Priest phase change, because the impair bonus will not stay for 2 ultimate anyways. Then the second stun window, basically the same as the first stun window. But you might find some difficulty in making sure Yixuan Disable is ready here. You might need to wish for a good RNG for some defensive assist before the stun, and I find that tuning Yixuan to be able to do a disorder here for disable generation is the best way to make sure her ultimate is ready. And at the last moment, if we manage our adrenaline usage and generation good enough, we will have just enough for one last adrenaline ultimate to finish this. Some important tips. First, Yixuan buff management. Her signature and Yunko tails both requires her to use her EX every 15 seconds, and Astral Voice requires her Quick Assist every 15 seconds. So quickly doing EX Ball and Astra Swap for Quick Assist whenever possible would be the best. And second, Adrenaline Generation. As we try to fit 5 Adrenaline Ultimate in the fight, Adrenaline Generation and usage will be a bit tight. My best tip is always using Yixuan basic attack and her dodge counter for active Adrenaline Generation, and using her support ultimate will also give Yixuan passive Adrenaline Generation for 10 seconds. Overall, I actually really like this team, and I'll try this team again in the future to see how this team perform with other buffs. Next is 109 million Defiler. Now this is a replay of Seed Trigger Orphe from Season 20, but with different buff. I have an impression that Combined Attack is a stronger buff for Seed team compared to Chasing Blade. I did also get a bit better on my rotation, but overall, this is actually a damage increase from my last play. But the score is lower, due to Defiler HP also got increased. I was planning to at least hold my score at 54k, which should be possible, but I'm just not in the mood to do that. The rotation is a 3 stun window with Seed and Orphe ultimate within each, space between the scripted defensive assist in the fight. After that, Seed downfall count is what mostly determines the score, and I think this is as high as it can be for M0 Seed. One important note on the fight is to keep the Defiler crit damage buff from defensive assist stays on 6 stacks until stun window. Luckily, now it is displayed below the HP bar to be easily trackable. For the first stun window, we might need some good RNG for this Defiler attack for full stack. And just before the stun window, renew the buff duration by defensive assist. This way, the stun window crit damage will be buffed. And the same for the second and third stun window, but it's not going to be as RNG reliant because the scripted defensive assist chain will give free buff stack. The stun window rotation that I am most comfortable with is Sip Downfall to start the stun into Orphe EX Laser buff refresh, to trigger Chain King of Summit refresh, Sip Chain Attack, then Orphe ultimate into Seed ultimate to the second downfall inside the stun. Then we use Trigger ultimate for extra damage inside stun, since her ultimate outside stun isn't gonna change the rotation into a 4 stun window anyway. And getting the stun too fast in a 3 stun scenario is also could be bad. The stun window rotation varies between each stun, but the main target and idea stays. The most tricky part is to make sure Orphe ultimate is ready on every stun window. This might involve planning her receiving defensive assist or using her chain attack for disables. And yeah, that's basically it. Nothing interesting or new going on here. I've been feeling the Defiler fight is just kind of boring now. And lastly, 136 million HP Butcher. Crazy! The highest his HP has ever been, paired with a mediocre anomaly buff. M0 baseline Miyabi Yuzu Sou is impossible to kill this season. You will need a minimum requirement of M1 Miyabi or M1 Yuzu for kill. The focus of this fight is on Miyabi anomaly damage and her enhanced basic count. And I think I am satisfied with this rotation, with 5 ultimate and 3 full stun rotation. The next possible improvement would be on Miyabi build. The optimized Miyabi build with Yuzu is as follows. We are banking fully on her anomaly damage, and her enhanced basic is a second priority. That is why the high AP and attack with minimum requirement crit value is the most optimum build, and you already might see why. With Miyabi Frost Destroyer getting more than 2 million and Shatter up to more than 1 million due to Yuzu buffing. Soukaku anomaly damage here is not negligible either, so building her on high AP here is a good investment as well. Now about the 2-piece. Power Electro is still going to be the best 2-piece for M0. I use 2-piece Phaeton's Melody for the high momentum rotation, but it's not necessary at all. I just don't have a good Power Electro piece with anomaly proficiency roll for this highly specific Miyabi build. Is this the end of M0 Miyabi kill? Maybe. It's been one bad week after another for Miyabi, but it's not really a thing to fuss about. At the end of the day, what matters is my enjoyment of the game. And I enjoy getting this rotation. As I see it, this is the best that I can do with all of my rotation target achieved. The numbers might not be enough for a kill or even getting 60k, but there's nothing more that I can do. I'm not gonna pull Mindscape just for a kill, and drastically improve my agent build is not something that I can do on a whim. And with all that said, I hope this video helps you, and see you next time.